Hey folks. So I have been using YouTube primarily as a reason to keep writing because it is very, very hard for me to do the maintenance type stuff when I've got so much going on. But you guys were interested in some of the stuff going on last week, so I'll go ahead and tell you about some of the stuff that's actually going on, why I'm quite so busy, and what's going on. So I live in Sweden, but I do not speak Swedish, even though I've lived here for quite some time. I have been practicing Swedish the first 3 years I was here. I didn't. I was not. I was told by employers not to learn Swedish, but or not to use Swedish in the classroom because students needed to hear English. So my international school was 2 years, and then I was at a vuxenutbildning, and they needed me to speak as much English as possible in public. They also wanted me to learn Swedish in private, and that's one of the kind of unfair expectations that everybody has work-life balance in Sweden, except people who move here because they also have the second job of learning Swedish. I understand it's much easier when you move in with a Swede, but since my wife and I moved over here together and we didn't particularly want to find other partners to practice Swedish with by, moving in with them and sleeping with them and etc., we both have had some issues learning Swedish through stuff. So I'm finished with SFE, and I'm now, just recently this week, I am finished with SFA. So, or at least Grundskola SFA. I will be starting Gymnasium SFA at the end of the month. I have also been working as a vicaria for the last 2 weeks at a single school. A single school booked me for 8 days of the last 2 weeks, which was all I was available because on Thursdays I run a D&D game for kids at the Ängelholm Library in Ängelholm. I am also running 2 other D&D games on alternating Fridays here in Landskrona, and I run a Scion role-playing game on alternating Mondays here in Landskrona. So I'm very, very busy with creative things. So it's hard for me to keep the schedule of writing a scene or a chapter here every week, and making the YouTube video helps me force myself to do that because I feel guilty if I haven't made my YouTube video. I've also been applying for a third master's degree here in Sweden because I need to learn how Swedes' writing differentiates from American writing, because a lot of the stuff that I've turned in that I thought was pretty well written, people have told me was crap. So I think that format might have something to do with it. In America, we use quite often the 5-paragraph format when writing short stuff. And I've noticed that American paragraphs are much bulkier than Swedish paragraphs. Swedish paragraphs tend to have more titles in the middle. They tend to have more interruptions in the text. At least that's been my experience in Swedish. And so I'm hoping one of these days I will learn how Swedes write, even when they're writing in English, and then perhaps I might pursue a PhD here in Sweden, since I already do have 2 master's degrees, and usually that's the direction you go. I am taking master's courses and in Växjö, technically at distance, but occasionally I think I have some tests in the city of Växjö. But when you add all the commute times from Landskrona to Malmo, the Landskrona to Ängelholm, the Landskrona to Helsingborg, the Landskrona to Lund, and possibly future Växjö stuff, and finishing the writing that I'm doing, and finishing the reading of SFA D, which is 9th grade Svenska som andraspråk, I've been kind of busy. I also have a couple of friends, finally, and that social effort, while completely worth it, is still taxing on the autism. I've been confining most of my reading not to real books, but to comic books. because those are easy and interesting and fun, and I can put them up on the big screen, and it's a way for me to get the joy of reading without having to close everything else out and just focus on the page. So I've been really, really busy, which is how my brain likes it, because I have also recently realized that I have I think I know finally what's wrong with me, and it's a relatively new thing for me. So I'm still digesting it. Maybe I'll do a video about it later. Anyway, that's why I'm so busy. That's why this is so important to me. That's why it's so useful for me to have these things going on. I feel stupid giving updates to YouTube. It's not like TikTok where it's just going to be shown to a bunch of strangers. I have no idea what you guys would be interested in. A lot of my TikToks are political or explaining American stuff, but those don't seem to have a lot of traction here. I just don't know what a fandom or a base would want from this. So if you have any ideas and you're willing to share them, I would be perfectly happy to do that. Thank you so much for your time. Bye.